Can the last team to beat North Melbourne be the next team to beat North Melbourne? And that's what's on the line this Saturday night when our Roos travel up north to Brighton Homes Arena for a replay of not just last year's grand final, the last three grand finals. Welcome to Up North, a North fan podcast from up north of the Murray. And that's where I'm going to start. 28 wins in a row, 30 games undefeated. And I was reading those articles during the week. Are North good for football? Yes. We don't want to bring the best down. We want the other teams to come up. When North first joined the competition, I wanted us to be Adelaide. Maybe 2020 we get there, maybe not. But for quite a while, we were a nilly team. And then that baton passed to the Brisbane Lions. And I so wanted us to be the Brisbane Lions. And guess what? We're now the best version of Adelaide, the best version of what the Brisbane Lions were. And I also feel over the next 5-10 years, the dynamic of the competition is going to change. Because really, for the history of the AFL, the strong teams rarely get weaker. Brisbane's made 7 or more grand finals. Adelaide's won a couple of flags. We've won a couple of flags. Yes, the Bulldogs dropped away a bit in the era of expansion, Melbourne for a little while. But generally, if you're watching for the last 5 years, Brisbane, North, Adelaide, Melbourne, it's been a good, enjoyable game of football to watch. But some of the other games aren't. Even some of the games North have played in, it's been a bit, yeah. And I'm sure that happens in the men's game as well. When we were dominant back in the 90s, playing a Fitzroy could be a bit, yay. And I actually think the dynamic's going to change because for the first decade of the women's program, we were expanding and up to a full 18 teams. We were taking players from netball, basketball, rugby. And we had very few women that had played a lot of football and they didn't always have programs because at a certain age they couldn't play against boys anymore. Whereas over the next 5-10 years, we're going to start getting an influx of women who from their earliest memories were watching women play AFL. We're going to get women who have played all through their juniors, maybe been in a talent program, but pretty much all year, every year, holding a ball, kicking a ball, handballing a ball, watching the game, seeing people who they can emulate. And I expect that we will get an influx of skill into the women's game. Because it's always been competitive. It's always been hard to win that ball. There's never been shirking a contest. And we want those women coming into our game and we want their coaches to believe that they're going to be better than North Melbourne and prove it. Because that's how the game gets better. So, are North good for footy? Definitely. It is great to see Emma Kearney back in our team because I'm not going to take for granted ever watching Emma play again. Anytime I get to see her could be the last time, particularly in the flesh living up here. So I thought they might have rested her a week, not flown her up here, but she's 100% fit. Let's go. Because I never want to take a champion for granted again. And it's the same for watching Jazz Garner or Ash Riddell, because this is the 3rd year in the row that our ladies have come up to play in Brisbane. They might not come up here or to the Gold Coast for another 3 years. So I don't know when I might see them next. Speaking of a veteran of the conversation, Tahlia Randall re-signed on for 2027, extending her stay. That is great news for North. dual premiership player, All-Australian, started the year with 3 goals. But Tahlia also has that fantastic story that sport often gives, but not to all the people who deserve it. If you don't know, Tahlia started her career at the Brisbane Lions, and she played in 2 grand finals, lost 2 grand finals. She then comes down to North. North finish on top of the ladder in 23. We get to host the grand final in Melbourne, and we lose. So Tahlia Randall's now lost 3 grand finals to the team she left. Some of those players who had lost 2 grand finals with her are on the field celebrating their premiership. And if that's where Tahlia's story ends, that's heartbreaking. Now, thankfully, as I just said, she's a dual premiership player. So, Tahlia, thanks for staying with the program. What a great career. I'm sure you got a few more top seasons left in you. The Lions have a couple of big outs. Ali Anderson hasn't come back. Dakota Davidson got a 1-week suspension. I'm not really prone to booing, but Dakota Davidson, yeah, if I was going to do it, she'd be near the top of the tree. And undoubtedly, they're going to miss her presence. But it could be a bit of a danger for us, because what are they going to bring now that's a bit unexpected? So we get a star back, they lose a star. You would think things are going our way, yes, but there's now a little bit of unknown, and how will Starcevic use that, and how will Croc cover it back? And it's going to be a bit eerie this year, because it's quite possible the next 2 AFL drafts, the men's and the women, are going to have number 1 draft picks that in a parallel universe could have been ours. So Dougie Cochrane, widely tipped to be the number 1 draft pick at Port Adelaide under the NGA program. His father, Stuart, played 45 games for us, so well short of the 100 required to be a father-son. But the Cochrane name lives on. In the women's program, Bailey Martin, in strong consideration for the number 1 draft pick, and her father, Ashley, played for North Melbourne back in the 90s with Darren Crocker. But it's a nilly story, because those games were in either the under-19s or VFL reserves. As far as I could tell, he was never actually on the senior list. But still, Schimmelbusch, Pagan, if we had a time machine, would we go back and get him on the list for 1 game? Because the way we're going, it could be a while before we get a pick at the pointy end again. Although it's certainly handy picking up the double hyphen from the Western Bulldogs. So yeah, not often that North Melbourne miss out. Oh, John Blakey's son, Nick Blakey. Why father-sons get counted in academies is probably another whole episode. But Bailey Martin, wherever you end up now, I'll certainly be watching you with an interest. May you have a long and successful career. So we go, oh, speaking of Claire, genuinely, not just I'm a North fan, but genuinely surprised that Claire Mahony wasn't this week's rising star. Now, I'm not knocking the Richmond player because I don't know her, but she's a second-year player playing in the midfield. Claire Mahony on debut. And now I know she's playing in a lot stronger side, but, you know, the marks, the composure, they both got coaches' votes. The Richmond player got 5. Claire got 3. Mind you, she's behind some champions of the game in Jazzy and Ash, isn't she? So I'm sure Claire will get, injury permitting, a Rising Star award this year, and I hope she's certainly in the running for it at the end. But very disappointed that a second-year midfielder got there first, because there's just something nice about being the first one each season. Looking ahead now, there isn't a lot more in the news to put in. I hope to see lots of blue and white out there today. I was saying that it's pretty handy if you don't mind catching a train to get out to Springfield for the game. But then today, as I got ready to film this, it hit me that in the early days of the Lions-W program, they also didn't play in Brisbane. They played in a town north of Brisbane, up at Burpengary, Shire of Pine Rivers. So that's like being north of Melbourne, maybe Sunbury, and now the team's playing out Frankston way, because Brisbane still aren't technically in Brisbane. They're in a town of Ipswich, southwest of Brisbane. So those people who lived close enjoyed going to Burpengary to watch the ladies, and Burpengary was a reason I didn't often get out there. It had a capacity of 1,000. It's one of my least favourite drives around Brisbane, getting out there from the south side. So, yeah, a generation of fans might have been disconnected from the W, but Brisbane are now in a very big growth corridor in southeast Queensland, so hopefully that's helping. Certainly helps that it has been designed purely for AFL. The VFL boys a few weeks ago were just so impressed with the surface, particularly coming out of Arden Street where the ground's been under maintenance and a few of the other grounds. It's a great venue to go, and if we get up near 3,000, it'll be a great atmosphere, both at the ground and hopefully on TV. The last couple of games we've played Brisbane, we've managed to get away by 5 or more goals. I just have a feeling this one's going to be a bit closer, and we should still get home. I still think we'll win by around the 20-point mark. The question is, of course, a little one, can North keep going 4-quarter, 4-quarter, 4-quarter? We've proven that. Last week the girls are buying in. Emma's back. The standards aren't going to drop. But who can go the 4 quarters with us? And I think this week it's going to be tight, but somewhere in the 3rd or 4th quarter we'll break free. Are you going to be at the game on Saturday night? It would be great to see you there. If you've got any other comments, please let me know. If you're still listening, thank you. I appreciate the support. And until next time, up north!